Good afternoon and welcome to the February 7th, 2022 Board of Public Works and Safety. So I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Brian Dobb.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Reynolds.
Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for these city leaders, God, coming together. And God, I pray for wisdom and guidance, clarity of thought and speech as they discuss important matters that directly affect our city today, God. I thank you for every participant of this meeting. And God, I pray that everything would be done in order and you'd be honored and glorified through it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll like to remind everyone to please turn your cell phone ringers off. We will begin with roll call.
Brian Dobb.
Present.
Becky Gibson. Present. Diana Phillips. Jim Barrett.
Okay, everyone has the minutes from the January 18th, 2022 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those?
Motion to accept.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on down to new business. We have the award bid for the Community Crossings paving project.
Good afternoon. My name is John Spidell. I'm with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert Engineers. We took all the bids, I believe that you received at your last meeting. We reviewed all those bids. Paul H. Rowe Construction was the lowest, most responsible, and responsive bidder. Their bid was $1,068,873.82. Our engineer's estimate was $1,133,487.13. So they came in underneath the engineer's estimate. And we're now asking for you to approve their bid for the community crossings.
Any questions from the Board of Works?
Motion to accept the bid.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I've got 3 things for you to sign, but we'll take care of it after.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Would
Okay.
anybody like copies of the bid tabs? Anything? Okay.
Yes.
You'll get it.
Clint, is Brent Duncan out there? No. Okay, didn't think I seen him. Okay, item C, approve release of deed restriction agreement. Rosemary?
When we have certain grants and we make improvements to certain homes, there has to be a deed restriction placed on that home. And this is one that was never released from 2007. So we're just catching up the records on this.
I move that we approve the release of the deed restriction.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And I know I seen Adrian come in. Is he out there?
I've been threatened out there by chief police.
How are you, sir?
I'm not bad, how about
Good.
you? Okay. Well, after 2 years of delay, we're trying to get back, on schedule for the Armed Forces event and need your permission for the road.
Has everyone reviewed the roads he's looking at? Any questions?
Nope. Motion to approve the request for Armed Forces Parade route.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Permission granted, sir.
That's too good. I'm on again. Do you want me to wait and come back or just do that?
You're next.
You're next. You put you right in the order, so
I
you're
love
good.
it. We're mandated by federal government to maintain a mitigation plan for the community. That spells out a lot of response from the federal government if we have a natural man-made disaster. The last one we had benefited the community of about $230,000. There are many things we look at. One of the biggest things is floods. But we do have hazardous chemicals, the 3rd Street spill, that was horrible. But this is going into that plan, looking at things, we just talked to Brad. We're building a committee, we have a meeting on the 25th, and I'd like to have at least one member of the Board of Works and one member from the council on that. As many as you like.
What time is the meeting and where is it?
I believe it's on the 25th. If they can, they will be here at 1 o'clock. If not, we'll have to reschedule. But I'd like to get signature from everyone that you're aware of this. And if you'd like to serve on the committee, please hit the yes block and give me a number I can contact you to confirm the time. We will go over what the plan is, the planning process. We look at local jurisdiction, look at our hazard analysis on natural man-made disasters, what the risk assessment is, and then fold all that into the plan. And that's mandatory, but that's like the east side of town with flooding. We have to have all these things identified in a mitigation plan so that if something does happen, then we're covered. Without those things in there, and we all know we've had a horrible event on the east side of town with Rob Murray back in '05. He was a great friend and still hard to believe, but that's worst case scenario of a flood, so we don't have the falsehood of saying it can't happen, because it did. So having said that, I want to do all we can, get as much in there. We know the chemical release on 3rd Street where Kerry lost his home. They had to take that, pump the ground out and everything. All those little things come into being if we do testing and everything else. Like we have in the past, we get ahead of the game, and this is, as I said, it's a mandatory requirement by the federal government, and we have to do this. I'm working with IUPDY, and there are 2 people involved. They will most likely be here. Assuming we can do this open face-to-face, but with COVID, I don't know.
Where's the meetings at?
It will be at the courthouse in the conference room next to the prosecutor's office. And I will double check the times and everything and call whoever cares to be on that committee.
So what is your goal for how many people you're going to have on the committee? Because I just looked at the different categories of where you want representation. Do you have like an idea of how many people that may end
I
up
want as
being?
many as I can get. I want to stack it. I'd like to get, I talked to the school. I think Scott is going to be involved and Daryl Group. Private citizens, anyone that wants to be involved is more than welcome. We're looking at the community, and a lot of times you can get information you didn't know from people in the community from the past, things that we weren't aware of. A good example, when they were adding onto the courthouse, we ran into a couple of old gas tanks. And then talking to a couple of people at the nursing home, they alerted me to other things around town that had been forgotten long ago. And I tried to look at scheduling a day and go to nursing homes and talk to some of the older people. You know, what do you remember from times on back that, you know, we've lost, that we don't have documented? Things like that help us, and working with local industry, what kind of chemicals they're working on. Inland buildings, when they were here. That was a tragedy because they went from something bad to something good that got nailed by IDEM because of it, and the door shut. So what we're trying to do is make it easier for people to understand, to have that data on hand, that if something does go wrong, we have the plan in place and everything that should be addressed will be identified in that plan. So the more information, the merrier. And I will be at the council meeting tonight for the same thing.
We need a motion to approve.
Not really approving.
Not
No,
really
there's
approving,
nothing
it.
to
There's
approve.
nothing to approve, it just
Just an invitation.
invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
And
it.
thank you, everything, for the parade.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.
Hey, what's the date of that parade again, so people
It'd
understand?
be the
Better home.
20th, we're set up 21st for the parade, and we'll start staging about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and parade's at 1.
21st through what date?
20th through the 22nd,
22nd.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And again, thank you for the park. We're basically starting over, but we hope to build to a very great event that attracts a lot of people.
Thank you for all you do for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Adrian, just to clarify, you said
Yes,
the
sir.
parade's on the 22nd?
21st.
21st,
On Saturday.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, on down to item F. Recommendation, we need to make a recommendation to city council for the addition of a handicap parking space at 1824 Vermont. Everyone has information in front of you. Any,
I move to approve.
Second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We will send that to city council tonight. And item G, approve an arbitration settlement. Everyone's been informed over this.
I have nothing to add. I think everybody already knows what's
Everybody
happening.
knows. Not much you can talk about with an employee issue.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the arbitration settlement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.
Very good.
I sent you guys all the amendment. You may have already had the amendment, but I sent it to you to make sure that you did. And copies of the new timelines. So we need to have you approve the amended version of the resolution, and really the only change on it was they had a date wrong. It needed to be corrected.
I move to approve the amendment.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
It does have the, its adopted date is January 7th.
Should be February.
The already adopted date.
At the very, where the signature page is, it says adopted on the 7th day of January. So that's incorrect. That needs to be changed.
Well, I guess it was, right?
That was the first.
And now we're
one.
amending it,
So this is amending that.
so
But
would that be
this,
okay?
this is adopted this day, though. This is the day that it's signed.
I think that's just a typo. It should say February instead of January.
So I'm gonna write above it, February.
Okay.
Okay, we have two cybersecurity assessment proposals for the city of Connersville and one for the city of Connersville utilities. Everyone read through that. We have a couple representatives here if you have any questions to explain that. Why don't you guys come on up, actually, by the way, introduce yourselves and a little bit about your company and what you do.
Happy to be here. Jeff Rader, our Director of External Affairs for Sandy Solutions. We are a cybersecurity and IT staffing and managed services company out of Indianapolis. We do a lot of municipality work. In fact, I think that's how we were introduced to your utility folks that had worked with Lawrence. Lawrence, we do the city and the utility. Everything soup to nuts for their IT, and have implemented cybersecurity measures there. And there was just a direction of, hey, you guys are looking at the cybersecurity practice for your utility. Brought it up in discussions with your IT person who's worked with the county. And just said, hey, if we're going to do the utility, we should do the city alongside of that, so that you have a robust picture of what you're doing. We're going to get Cody Tyler, our director of cybersecurity, involved in it in about 2 weeks, and once all the papers signed, and then we can give you a lay of the land of where you're at. After that, we'll be able to recommend where investments need to be made for the cybersecurity portion of this, as well as just overall best practices for where you're at, and build that roadmap with you guys of where investments needed to help protect yourselves better, understanding that you can't just go out and buy the Rolls Royce of all the bells and whistles that come with cybersecurity anymore, that keeps evolving. And so it really is sitting down in a partnership and understanding what your prime goals are for protection and helping you find a path to get there in the most economic way, as well as reasonable way. Because if you can build a great castle of security, but if you let the front door open, and that's through users anymore, if you don't help get them trained, then it doesn't matter how good the back end of it is. So this will be a robust look at what you're doing now and be able to give you some ideas on where to go in the future.
Any questions?
On this charge, is this just a flat rate charge to assess? Okay.
And what we were able to do is just kind of timing and resources wise, we can consolidate things, and the way your networks are set up are going to be similar. So we were able to do the utility and the city at the same time and be able to offer a discounted rate for being able to do both at the same time for you guys.
Is that the discounted rate that's in here? It is. 32.
We're able to do both for 5,000 total. We can figure out the paperwork for that with you guys.
Yeah, that's not in here. I read it, whatever.
I thought it was 3,400 each.
That's what
3,200 each.
That's what they say.
Then there's the ongoing
Okay, we're just reviewing the assessment, right?
The assessments, and yes, we were able to do the 2,500 apiece for the utility and the city.
Assessment, and once you
Yes.
complete the assessment, you'll be able to come up with a
With the
monthly charge.
ongoing, yeah. And there's gonna be project work that almost certainly comes out of that. So having additional appropriation is not a bad idea for you. And we always do try and work with you guys on how best to make the mechanisms of government work for your needs. But it would just be the 2,500 apiece between the utility and the city.
Get a timeline of how long this would take to do the assessment?
We'll make sure Cody works extra time, but he said it should be about a month for it to be completed. A lot of that's dependent upon resources being available on your side, because we don't want to interrupt people's day-to-day, but this does have to be a priority of what are those key systems and what are they running on, understanding what practices are in place today, and learning from what's been done historically. That's how we'll build out the plan of where things need to go and in what timeline.
Any other questions? I spoke with Michael about this. Obviously, he's an IT guy. I'm kind of a dummy when it comes to this, so he was very much in favor of doing something, if it's something needed. And the funny part is, Rosemary brought this to me, but I'm glad to go to that mayor's school about a month ago. One of the hot topics was this. So cybersecurity is a big deal in government now and is greatly needed. So an assessment will be a very good thing to spend money on, so we know what we have, what we need to do to protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we're getting, Michael, I don't know if you ever talked to Michael, how much we get inundated with hits and attacks. It's a lot. In fact, when we switched over our router, I remember, when was that, like Rosemary, last year, when we went down, we got hit like 9,000 times.
Yeah.
In like a short amount of time, and it completely shut us down. So that's why we were upgrading everything to help protect us, but it got us. But they didn't get information, but they attacked us hard, and it doesn't stop. It's constant, so.
It sounds like Michael's had to wear a lot of different hats. And
He does, and he's worn pretty thin right now, so.
He
this
needs
is
help.
This is good help for him, yeah. So I have a motion to approve, the cybersecurity assessment for the city of Connersville and the utilities for $5,000.
Yep.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.
absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Approval of the EDC HRA date change.
We just approved this a month or so ago. We just had an incorrect date on there. And this is to take us back to cover all everything since '06, since we've had this plan, so.
Let's see where the date was fixed. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve the change.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, move on down to the policy handbook. We did make a couple changes. You have those changes in front of you. There will obviously be more stuff that is going to have to be done in the future. Because you can't think of everything. We've been
All at
stewing
once.
on this. Do what?
All at once.
We've been working on this for 12 months, pulling from different resources, different cities. I pulled several different cities. Rosemary gave me information, and federal, state, we pulled everything together to get this done. So there will be changes, we know that. I think I got all the grammatical stuff fixed. I think you pointed one out this morning. After 5 reviews, you think I would've got that, but, and I might have fixed that too, by the way, so I had some computer issues. So some stuff, I don't know what was going on the computer, but, this is really, the changes you made you got the copies are in there now. There were changes I thought we made before. One of them was one I was hoping for some discussion about, which we had some discussion, so. Is there any other questions with the handbook?
No, I think it's a great idea. I went through all of it, read through all of it. I got no problem with it whatsoever. I think it addresses a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed.
Any other questions?
I agree with Jim. I think it outlines where we're at and what, different procedures and policies and everything else.
Again, if we come across something, then we might have to modify it, but we're trying to make everything work a lot smoother, so. If I have, no other questions, I
I'd
will
like
take
to
a,
say something.
this is a policy, this is not an open discussion. This is the Board of Works discussion of a policy. You can say something, I don't care. Come on up.
Thanks. I'd like to say that I totally agree with Chad. I think this is the right direction we need to move in. We do need policies that are written down. What I do disagree with, though, is the fact that the department heads have not been given a copy of this policy to review before your vote today. I think it's inefficient. I think you entrust us to run our departments, and you also entrust us to represent the voices of all the people that work under us, and we are not given the opportunity to do that. I talked with several of you last time about the holidays. Something as simple as that, department heads were not asked about holidays, and all the feedback I got from you guys was, wow, I never thought about it from the park's perspective. I never knew it would impact the park that way. Now, I can't speak for the other departments, but to me, I don't like the precedent that is being set. Today, you have 2 policies in front of you that are overreaching all departments. Department heads have given no input, and the Board of Works is being asked to approve 2 today. Now, what could have been an inadvertent omission with the holidays, to me, is becoming intentional and being set in front of you with, I don't know why it was skipped. I don't know why. I'm not saying I would disagree with anything. Maybe it's perfect the way it's written. But I do think department heads should have been given an opportunity to read it, offer input. Maybe the input wasn't accepted. But to me, if we're being tasked with enforcing this policy, then we should be able to say, yes, this works, or no, this doesn't, or have you considered this? It's not the mayor's job to be down in the weeds of how the custodian works at the park, but it's my job. And maybe there's something in this policy book that doesn't add up to that. Maybe there's not. But I don't like the fact that policies are being brought before you to vote on, that policies are being brought before the council to vote on, that department heads have had no input in. So if you vote yes on this right now, you will do so knowing that no department head has read it. So I respectfully just disagree. It's my opinion, not the opinion of anybody else, just me.
For one, to answer that question, this is how we manage department heads. That's why the department heads don't have any input, because this is a Board of Works, this is a management decision, and we have to go through it. Everyone has different policies and everything. It's been very random. We pulled it together. This is a management decision to do so we can manage our business better, which includes managing you.
Sure.
That's why we did that. It's not a department head decision to make how we
I'm not asking
decide
to
on
make
how it
any
works.
decisions. I'm asking to offer
I'm just giving you a
input.
statement on where I was at with it and why we did what we did. It's taken a long time to put this together. And they've been involved for, how long did I give it to you, a month or two ago for review? And that is exactly what we did. So it's how we manage department heads and non-union employees, part-time employees, everybody.
Sure.
It's all inclusive of that.
And I'm just saying, I respectfully disagree. I think we should have been able to at least read it and offer input. That's it.
Well, if I could just say this, Mayor, I understand where you're coming from, but my take on this is basically this handbook applies to you as a supervisor or our chief, whoever. And that is why, it's going to apply to you, and your employees. So that's part of the reasons. And I think we addressed pretty much about everything that we've kicked around here for over a year. And I think it's going to be an asset to you, the department head, now that a lot of stuff is spelled out. So I don't really see a problem with this, Catherine. And I'm sure the mayor's going to go through this book with you, department head.
Every one of them.
When it's approved by both the Board of Works and City Council. And, if you've got a problem with anything that's there, I'm sure the mayor will be willing to listen.
I hope.
I'll make a comment on that too. I agree with Jim. I feel that this is for salaried and for non-salaried personnel because it says that under the exceptions and conditions, these policies and procedures apply to all City of Connersville employees except for when being represented by a union. So this is more for, to me, in my opinion, is the clerks, the salaries, salaried positions and stuff like that, non-union personnel, even though it does cover the blanket of the city employees.
I have non-union personnel as well.
It'd be covering your employees. So because it says with the statutes for the police and the fire departments, everybody's got the statutes that they got to follow through each one of those departments. But I would not see why Chad would not, or I'm sorry, the mayor would not, involve the department heads after the governing body decides on, policies. So if we, no disrespect, if we ask every department head what we think about a decision, then
I'm not asking for every decision, and I'm
I'm
not
not
trying to
saying-
interject my opinion where it's not needed. But when these policies affect every department, I have union workers, non-union workers, I have the biggest seasonal staff of any department. I have part-time, full-time. It's not your job, it's not the mayor's job.
Yes, it is our job. Our job is to
You
put
didn't let me
policy in
finish.
place.
It's not to know all the little details that go into all those different things. That's why I use the holidays as an example, is because you said, everyone I spoke to said, wow, I probably wouldn't have voted that way had I known how it affected your department. So this is the forum I have to say, I don't think you should vote on an overreaching policy that has had no opinion from any department head. I don't know if Human Resources has read this.
Yes, they have.
I'm glad, because you talk about 12 months of review.
Told us to write it.
Well,
And
okay,
they've had review
but
of
in
it
those
as well.
12 months,
12 months was me going from city to city, getting information, putting all this. It took a long time to write this. Yes, they reviewed every bit of it because there's policies in there that are specific to HR that I don't know. And I want to make sure we got the legal perspective. Jeff understands the legal perspective. We looked at FSLA to make sure we're correct on that because there's some stuff in there we can't change because it's a federal requirement. There's some stuff in there that is our city policy. But it's our job as management to do that and to give it to the employees. And this is how we are going to manage our business, and here's the employees.
Sure. Like I said. Thanks for your time.
Any questions from the board? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the City of Connersville Personnel Policy Handbook.
So moved.
Have a motion?
second.
A second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We will present that to council this evening. My papers are out of order. I just had it. I just reviewed it, but anyway, I can do it from memory. I have the approval of Resolution 2022, the City of Connersville Personnel COVID Policy. What this is this goes directly to the CDC, their recommendations. They have changed. They are changing, it seems like every month. The other policy was approved in, correct me if I'm wrong, it was November.
It's
or
been a
somewhere,
while.
and it was changed, it was already updated 30 days after that. We never did anything. The CDC's recommendation, the only difference is they make a differentiation on vaccinated versus unvaccinated. I am not doing that. The same rules apply to everybody for whether you're unvaccinated or vaccinated, because we're not asking, and that is not something that I have enforced. So that is the only difference in here, but everything else is in here is per the CDC guidelines. So is there any questions on that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, down to department matters. Brad.
Recently, we installed new phones in the department. We have the old phones as extras. There are still some city departments that use those. Maybe not regularly, but in power outages and things like that. So we were gonna donate these to either, I think it says the police department, but maybe the EMS is getting some of them too, but to another
Just one.
city department.
EMS just got one.
Okay. So we're just donating these to somebody else that can use them rather than putting them in an auction or something, so I just wanted to formalize that.
I approve the transfer of the phones.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
I have 2 trash approvals before you. Neither one of them seem to be anything that violate any of our rules, so
Are those two additional or are those beginning? I
One
mean,
of them.
like new?
they're both new.
New, okay. Make a motion to accept the trash collection at both residents.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for, do we say both? I didn't hear you say both.
At both
Okay.
businesses.
223 East 3rd Street and 124 East 6th Street.
I just want to make sure you said both.
Yes.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Let me clarify, he will always bring new trash collections. Additional ones do not go through the board, because if it's already been approved to pick up one tote at that location, they can pick up 2.
Okay,
So just to clarify that.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Bolos.
Hey, Chief.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Does everybody have a copy of my letter?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
As it stated, we, last 2 or 3 years, we've anticipated this year coming for 2 of our officers retiring. Officer Matt Reed has retired a couple Sundays ago, and Sergeant Shook is retiring in August. They've both taken the drop program, so they will be retiring, or Shook will be retiring in the future. So we did hold a couple testing processes in September. We had approximately 8 individuals show up to those. We selected 4 of those out of the 8 to do a background check. We did that, and our detectives did an extensive background check on them. We narrowed it down to 2 candidates. Mr. Patrick Moulin and Mr. Tyler Russell. As far as the first, as Matt Reed's, Officer Matt Reed, his retirement, he retired, like I say, a couple of weeks ago, so I'm looking, obviously, to replace him with your approval. Also with Scott Shooks, he's in August, but we really need to get him replaced. The situation, as I indicated on this letter with the academy, is you have to have hired before you can reserve. And once they open those up, the next classes are in May, then in September. And once those open up, it's in no time that they're filled statewide. We have to have a hired name to hold a spot. So that's why I'm requesting to also replace Officer Shook's position in August, so we can get them through the PERF process. That takes roughly a month by the time we get them in, and then they give us back the pass or fail. It's about a month, so I don't want to, wait
too much longer. We're checking the academy daily to see when the September classes open up, so we can get that reserved. It's not opened up yet, but it could open up anytime where they start reserving spots. So I'd like to have him hired March, both of you guys hired March 5th as their starting date. So, I mean, is there any questions about any of that?
That's the only question I had, was when was it going to be, his start date, was March 5th?
Yeah, I'd like to get him started with perf right after that. So if there's no questions, I look forward to your approval.
They haven't opened up the classes for May and September yet?
May's is full.
May's
Yeah,
full,
yeah.
so September's the only class you have this year
This year,
remaining.
correct, yeah.
You wouldn't see a problem, they can get 2 slots in there?
Not if we have 2 names to fill it
Okay.
once it's open. That's why I want to get ahead of it. I don't foresee them opening it, this month. They're still, on May's, but they could. It's just, you just got to check it and see. And,
Yeah.
when it's open, you got to submit names, so. So I want to get in with perf and get that all approved in a month, by March. So,
A motion we approve the chief's request.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Move on down to old business. Anyone have any old business? Any miscellaneous business? No? Move on down to claims.
City claims was $248,757.85. Payroll was $1,058,724.30. Utilities, $692,588.82.
A motion to approve claims.
Motion to approve the claims.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And Clint, where'd he go? He left. As public forum, anyone out there from the public? He's my go-to guy and he's moved. Okay, if not, we'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
A motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Have a good day.
Hey, Brad.